I always say this ahead of time, so don't take it personally, but I'm going to hand you the mic. It's not your mic. It's their mic. You get it. Okay.
Hello. So as far as you know, does this exist in other cities? And if so, do you have contact with organizers?
Yeah, so there are official, how do I put it? So critical mass started about 20 years ago in San Francisco. And what has happened in the past 5 years around the country has really been sort of a shift from being more of a protest to more of a celebration. And it's manifested itself in different names. There are other rides that call themselves Bike Party. There are rides that call themselves Slow Roll. There were a few that called themselves Courteous Mass. Yeah. And so when I started, when we started in 2012, there were, I believe, 3 in California, but I believe that those were the only bike parties that I was aware of. And I think that Baltimore was the first one on the East Coast. But even since then, it's popped up in DC, it's popped up in Philly, it's popped up in Boston. Now there's one in Lancaster, and the people in Frederick want to put one there. So yeah, Salisbury is looking to do one. So it has really continued to grow, and it's something that, you know, anybody can put together. It doesn't necessarily have to be as big of a production as we make it, but that's just how we do.
Great. Anybody else?
Have you ever gotten pushback from the city? You know, the police, you know.
That's a hot topic, hot topic.
I mean, you could call it pushback. What it is, what the constant struggle is that Bike Party is doing something that nobody else in this city is doing. And so the way that bureaucracy works is not built to tackle new ideas. You know, what we're trying to do is basically take the crowd of Artscape and move it around like the marathon. And, you know, when it comes down to it, the people that we've talked to at the city, especially those that are higher up, and when it comes to the mayor, like, they get that Bike Party is good and no one's trying to shut it down. They just don't quite know how to manage it, which is a real problem that we're still working through. We've definitely had our hang-ups, but it's continued to progress. But I don't think that it, you know, no one's against it. They just don't know how to not get in the way.
Good answer. Anybody else? Did I scare you with my mic comment?
So critical mass is all about trying to get drivers and politicos and community members in big cities to recognize cyclists on the road. Do you think that Bike Party has done that in Baltimore? Not just on Bike Party days, but do you feel like there are more bike lanes being put in, or people are more courteous to cyclists on the road? Do you think that Bike Party has made any sort of change in the city?
I think it has. I think that without us overtly saying that that's our mission, having this big ride that everybody is aware of creates that awareness just naturally. I think that, you know, part of Bike Party's starting was acknowledging the fact that there was already headway being made, that there were already, you know, bike lanes were being put in. Nate Evans had been put into a position as the bike and pedestrian planner. Like, when I moved here in 2006, it was like a war zone, you know, on my bike. But by 2012, it was kind of different. Did you have something to add?
So part of what I was saying about Bike Party being, or creating this atmosphere, I think that like we don't come out and say bikes, bike lanes should be on every single street. Like, that's not what Bike Party is about. But I think that it allows for people to have some of that exposure and say, like, hey, I only ride in Bike Party, but these roads are really bad over here. So next time I see Bike More or Bike Maryland, maybe I'll consider giving them some money because they're the ones doing that advocacy to get that there. So I don't think that, yeah, like Tim said, it's not explicit, but I do think that we have contributed to that.
Yeah. That's this maybe.
Hi, I'm really loving Bike Party, and I definitely want to be a part of it. I want to ask you, though, how can we help you to keep this thing going? You know, what kind of support do you need from all of us here today?
I would say there's 3 main points. The first one is just come and participate. I mean, our goal is to have as many people as we can to come out on this. Now, if we ever started getting to like 5,000 people, we may change that. But at this point, everybody should come. That's our voice right now. The second thing is to volunteer. When Kimmy says we have 50 volunteers a month, that's not the same 50 volunteers. We're constantly having to find new volunteers every month to fill those 50 roles. And then the third thing, which is any organization, is money. If you want to make a donation, then you are more than welcome to. Our website is baltimorebikeparty.com. There's a little donate button on there that goes to PayPal. But at this point, we are not grant funded. We do not have any corporate sponsorship. We are completely self-funded, but it's getting harder and harder to do that every month. Bike Party is a free event, and we heavily intend for Bike Party to always be a free event. That's the only way that it's going to be accessible to people in Baltimore and not be financially exclusive. But in order for it to be a free event, those who have the means donating to us definitely helps put that forward.
Buy beer.
So drink. Anybody over here? I don't want to ignore this.
Yeah, so you guys talked a little bit about other people pushing the brakes on you. In terms of running an organization, when you do take action, I help run a homebrew club, and there are definitely months where it's like, you get done with something and then it's like, oh, the next month, like, oh God, like we just spent all this effort. Like, how is it that you guys just keep, you guys have been doing this for 2 years, that's amazing, and every month just like start all over again, what is it, can you give us some advice, some pointers where you're like, I just want to jump off the train,
I don't know about advice, but I think for me personally, it's the inspiration the day of the ride. It's, the week leading up to it. And we talked a little bit about the time and the dedication everybody puts into it, but then, and that week leading up is super hectic. Tim alluded to dealing with trying to get permitting pushed through and some of the frustrations that come up there. But then when you get on the ride, and that energy and that collective that's there is crazy inspiring. And that's what, brings it back for the next month, for me anyway.
Yeah, I think that, honestly, I think it might be easier with Bike Parties sometimes to have that resiliency. Homebrew stuff is awesome. And I think that definitely provides a level of happiness and a sense of self-worth that you're doing this action yourself. And I think that finding those things in what you want to do, that's what keeps me coming back to Bike Party, is not because it's fun. Sometimes I get social anxiety at my own event because I can't handle being around 2,000 other people, but I have to be here because it's my event. But it's because I really feel that what Bike Party is doing is making a positive impact on the people around me and the city around me. And finding those things that are actually this is doing good more than just this is fun is what has allowed us to keep going.
I think we have time for one more question. Anybody? Okay.
Morning. You started out your talk by talking about the unrest that's happened in Baltimore and the uprising. I wanted to know, are there any particular organizations that you as Bike Party have decided to support? Thousands of people have taken to the streets, not on bikes, in protest of a lot of different issues since May, and continue to nearly every week. Are there like particular rides that you guys support with the critical mass of people that you guys have now?
I mean, the unrest has been a big thing, but obviously even before the unrest happened, there's been kind of the question of support and endorsement and partnership and sort of what do we do with the platform that we have to reach all these people. At this point, it has, we generally have tried to just keep to ourselves a little bit. That once you open that door of, well, why did you support this? Why did you support that? Why are you behind this entity that I don't politically agree with? We try to keep our own politics out of it as much as possible. I think that part of the success of Bike Party is that Bike Party is all about Bike Party. And that means that whether you are a, diehard progressive LGBTQ like East Baltimore resident, or whether you're like a gun-toting like Palin supporter from West Virginia, you can both come to Bike Party and like share in the fun of that without feeling like Bike Party is trying to push an agenda on you that you don't agree with. With that said, there have definitely been things that we have been willing to support in terms of just promoting them. The thing that I can think of most recently is the 300-man walk, if you're familiar with them. They have branched into actually doing...
I see you're a supporter. Bravo.
Oh, well, there you go. Sorry, you were blocked. So you're familiar.
Was this a loaded question? Did you guys talk about this earlier?
We did not talk about this before. But when y'all did your bike ride, we promoted that on our social media. And if you want to talk to me after, I think that there's definitely more collaboration there. Because when things logically make sense, we're willing to go with them. If it's about making Baltimore better for everybody, and if you're doing it on a bike, that's kind of like a no-brainer for us.
I have one last question. Well, that was, Bob, you stole my question. I was going to say, there's a bike party tonight, right? Tell us more about it. We're on the same page, Bob. We got you. I got you.
So tonight, as usual, we'll meet at 6:30 at St. Mary's Park in Seton Hill, and then roll out at 7 o'clock. The party should be getting to the 400 block of East Landvale Street in Greenmount West, right around 9 o'clock. So we'll see you all there, right? Yeah.
All right, one more huge round of applause for Bike Party.